She's got the right idea. Well, God save the queen. The fashion regime. She make you a mirror. Cause she's your age found. Well, God save the queen. She ain't a human being. There is no future. And anyone's dreaming. Well, don't be told what you want, and don't be told what you need. No future, no future, no future for you. Come and sing it. God's have a dream. We mean it, man. We love our queen, oh yeah. God's safe country, man. God said, this is our money. And I figured, hey, girl, she ain't what she seems. Well, God's a mystery. Save you, man, pray. Allah, God have mercy. All our crimes are paid. But where is the future? What how can never sin? We declare what we know. A weed poison in a human machine. A weed future for your future. God save the queen. We mean it, man. We love our queen, oh yeah. Our God says, guitar solo come day, clap. Says like it's the way you should know.
What's up? You know what this is, and you know why we're here. Damn straight. I'm excited about today's show. Woo! This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. Looking around, what's happening, everybody? What's up, Caesar? What's up, Happy Jack? What's up, Steve? Good to see everybody from around the world. Yo, Lenny, what's up, brother? How's Queens? Everybody, man. You know, what's up? Stoked. Listen, what can I say? That's right. From Moby to Glenn Matlock, we got a lot of great stuff coming on. That said, yeah, bam, little bam. Time to do what you do best. That's right. How's Florida, Drew? Probably, yeah, I'm good in Florida right now. You know, there you go. Hello, everybody, and everybody. Thanks for supporting the show. I'm wondering, you're wondering, we're wondering, what's up with the hardcore shutterbug, Stephen Messina? Hey, man.
What's up? What's up?
How goes the revolution?
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful cold day here in Queens.
Is that right?
I'm excited.
I'm Drew. Pleased to meet you.
This is pretty awesome. This is pretty awesome. I don't know how we do these things.
We do it because we work hard on the show, and if you do good things will come to you. That's pretty much it.
I think there's some voodoo going on at your place that you make these things happen.
It's the voodoo that you do, baby. Hey, let's do photo of the day. Let's jump right into it. Let me clear the deck here. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, photo of the day. Wrong answers only, please. Here we go. Boom. Stephen Messina photo of the day. Wrong answers only, please. Let's see. Hey, shouting out, yo, what's up? What's up in Poland? What's up in Queens, New York? What's up in Puerto Rico? Wow. Another one. What's up in Queens? Here we go. Is it yet another living legend?
There you go. He knows.
Sure is. What else? Come on. What else?
Upstate Rick knows what's up.
Is it Sid the Kid? Is it hold on, wait. Is it Rat Bones? Is it this is a good one. Is it Chief Crazy Horse? What else? Oh, good one. Is it Al Pacino?
He's got the chin.
Is it Joe Biden 81? Oh, good one. You win with Frankie Too Far. Is it Waddy? Good one. Travis Barker. Is it Steve Jones? Good one. Is it the original member of Devo? Is it Stephen Messina? All right, enough silliness. Let's go.
Exactly.
Obviously, this is the godfather of New York hardcore. It is not Gene Simmons. It is not Indian Larry. Although I do see the resemblance. Ladies and gentlemen, is it Holy Stigma?
Holy Stigma?
Holy Stigma. All right. We all know, this is the godfather of New York hardcore. This is Vinnie Stigma, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And this one, you know what? This was an easy one today for two reasons. And because we have a pistol here, I'm going to say for two reasons, not two reasons. Is that number one, we have a legend on, we might as well have a legend on. And the other thing is because tomorrow is Vinnie's birthday.
Really? How old is Vinnie now? 65?
I believe he's 65. I think he was born in 55. And he is eternal teenager, this guy, you know.
Listen, didn't we just played it? What did we play? We played it. Antidote played his 60th birthday, right?
Yeah. Well, this photo right here was hang on a second. Hello. Oh, I'm just on a phone call. Sorry.
Sorry, man. I know I'm just on a phone call. Sorry, I know I'm being paid to work, but I'm on Drew Stone's show right now.
That was my boss.
Well, you better wrap it up, dude. Come on.
Well, this was taken at Vinnie's 60th birthday.
Right.
At St. Vitus.
Oh, that's the show we played.
Yeah. And I was going to say, this was Agnostic Front and Antidote. And it was absolutely my favorite St. Vitus night ever. Birthday cake and cupcakes flying everywhere. People sliding on frosting all over the floor. And just legendary. And if we're all like Vinnie at 65, we're in good shape. Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
You know.
All right, brother. I'll let you go get fired now.
Hey, this never happened. You never saw me. I was never here.
You're busted. You're so busted. All right, man. I'll talk to you in a bit. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Craziness. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards is located in Lakewood, Colorado. It's the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of records, CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and LA. From the pit to the ditch, they got your back. Get in touch with them at chainreactionrecords.com. Also, while we're at it, shouting out Chris. Yo, I know you're watching, Chris. Thank you for the support. You're a great sponsor. Your Core fan page in the wake of the pandemic. Your Core Chris created Your Core fan page, utilizing lessons learned from over 20 years of being an educator and social worker. he decided to try and reach where hardcore punk and surrounding genres of the bands create not only their music, but their message. The interviews are from a psychological perspective to harvest motivation, personal insight, and perspective. Please reach out to them on Facebook or Instagram if you have content to share or you want to promote your band, Your Core Hardcore fan pages. That said, how about Ragbone, 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 Ragbone. Hey, brah.
Hey, bro. I always get a kick out of that.
you know, your intro, your rap was just like 6 times as loud as anything else on the show.
I love it. You know, I got the AF hat on. Happy birthday, Stigma.
Yep.
You know, I got a lot today, and we got a big guest on, so I just want to run my shtick.
Bro, I will pull you the fuck off this show if you ramble on too long.
I did walk around all day yesterday in New York City. It seems like it's going to snow so bad, and I want it. So yesterday I basically walked around waiting for it to snow, and it didn't. But it looks like it's going to snow again today. So the weather's – it's winter in New York, whatever. But I got a couple things. I'm going to go in. I'm going to tie it all in. So take the ride. Buy the ticket, take the ride, like Drew always says. So I've been in the flea market this weekend, and I love finding these little smalls I find in the flea market. And I found this bad boy. I know you'll appreciate that.
Oh, Trash and Vaudeville, of course. I mean, rest in peace, Jimmy Webb, right?
Yeah, and you know, I met a lot of first-time punk rockers at Trash and Vaudeville back in the day. I met Ryan at Trash and Vaudeville. I met Kenny Kentra, rest in peace, at Trash and Vaudeville. I mean, that was the place to go. Come on. There was all those bootleg stores on St. Mark's, but if you were a Fisher, you coughed up the extra couple bucks and went.
It's back in the day before a lot of you suckers out there had your what do you call that in the mall? The what the hell is that? That's
Spencer's?
No, the other one.
Like video. Oh, Hot Topic.
Hot Topic.
I dated myself, right? So
yeah. Before you had your Hot Topic, this was the only place to go. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to tie in with the button, and then I'm going to tie into in the Star Wars world. We lost David Prowse this weekend, so rest in peace to Darth Vader, who we lost. I just want to show a couple of Darth Vader pieces real quick. That's
use the Schwartz.
That's the original Kenner, 1977 Darth Vader. And a lot of people don't know, unless you're a real Star Wars nerd like me, that Kenner was owned by like a cereal company. General Mills kind of owned Kenner. And they would put out things like this cool-ass poster. Give me a big shot and show that poster off. This was like a 3-set series that came out. I don't want it to reflect the light. But yeah, that was cool. I mean, I had this on my back of my bedroom door when I was a little kid. So rest in peace, David Prowse of Star Wars. Another cast member from The Wars joins. So let's get right into the toy. I'm a big fan of Mandalorian right now. If you're not watching Mandalorian, you don't know what time it is. Even if you like Star Wars or not, it's a really great show. Just dropped a really big episode. And it's basically based off this character. And if you can see him in there, it's Boba Fett. And that's the Slave One from 1980, from Empire Strikes Back, the Slave One. And now the Mandalorian ship is called the Razor Crest. And it's kind of like this. And, you know, these toys last a long time. And you can bring old Boba Fett out. Shit.
This is turning into like a Star Wars show.
Well, it's Christmas, and Star Wars is very big with collectors this time of year. So we got a really clean. Look how clean that Boba Fett is with the blaster.
Got it.
Yeah. So Mandalorian is on now on Disney Plus, and I'm just going to show a couple more figures.
You better move, bro. I got a guest to bring on.
awesome bounty hunters. This was like the crew Boba Fett was from, Bosk and IG-88.
Wow, you know their names.
Yeah.
And everything.
And then for the big toy, I teased it last time, but we got the 1977.
Oh. Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon.
Is that this?
The smuggler's ship.
Is that this?
Yes, sir.
That's it, right?
Yeah, man.
That's the big bopper, right? That's the real, the original. Listen, I'm not an expert like you, but that if you come across the original Millennium in the original box, that's worth a pretty penny, right?
About $600 easy.
Wow.
But yeah, you know, the top opens up. You got your play set inside. More than just a ship. It really was the play set, you know? You'd play with this with your figures for hours. And
go play with your figures.
Before I go, I just want to show, can't show the Millennium Falcon without showing Han and Chewie. Their blasters, you know. So it's all about Star Wars for me because Christmas is coming and I really dig the Star Wars stuff. And yeah, pew, 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 pew.
Cool.
So yeah, I just wanted to show off those sweet stars. That's still from that big batch I just got. And looking forward to the show today. And one last announcement. The McRib is back. The McRib is back at McDonald's. So get out there. Get your poison.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you. I'll see you later.
And order a shirt. Go to Generation and buy my shit.
God. Have mercy, will you? What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. Before we bring today's guest on the show, I just want to mention a couple of upcoming shows, starting with this Sunday. We have Mike Judge coming on. Super stoked on that. Mike Judge, Youth of Today, Death Before Dishonor. Then we have Nancy Burrill, who's got a new book out, I'm Not Holding Your Coat. We always like when girls, females, women come on the show. After that, from The Offspring and H2O and Juliet and the Licks, we have Mr. Todd Morse. Then, by popular demand, we have Gary Meskel from the Crumb Suckers. So tune in for all that. That's all coming up. We're excited about that. We make sure everybody's okay out there. What's up? What's up, Ann? What else? Yep, there's lots coming up. Here we go. Let me see. Everybody behaving themselves. Seems like everybody's okay around the world. What's up, Ann in Antwerp? Love Antwerp, my kind of town. So here we go. That said, let's bring on today's guest. Here we go. Today's guest is an English musician and songwriter known for his work with Rich Kids, Iggy Pop, Faces, the International Swingers, The Damned, and the Vicious White Kids. But of course, he's best known for being the bass player in the original lineup of the infamous Sex Pistols. He is credited as co-author on 10 of the 12 songs on the iconic album, Never Mind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols. Look, let's be frank here for a second. Let's just throw this out the window. I wouldn't even be sitting here doing this fucking show if it wasn't for this guy and what he's contributed. So for me personally, this is a real honor and a real pleasure. I'm really excited about this. That said, listen, it was a record that not only changed the face of modern music, but it influenced and continues to influence worldwide culture to this day. Please welcome, coming at us from swinging London, a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Mr. Glenn Matlock. Hey, man.
How you doing? All right. Hang on, I need a fanfare.
Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for coming on, man.
That's okay. My pleasure.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Hey, everybody around the world's excited to see you. So, let's lead off with this. What was going on with you when the zombie apocalypse hit? When the pandemic hit, did you have shows booked? how did your life change? Did you have to cancel stuff?
Yeah, I've been touring. I've got a band over here. It's like the Glenn Matlock band, but my good buddy, L Slick, was playing guitar with me. And we did a tour of the UK. We'd been in the studio just over the Christmas period last year and recorded a new album. And then I was doing the vocals, and then Al was there. We did a tour of the UK, and he was going to go back to the States, and then I was going to come to the States and do some solo shows. I was going to play with the Dropkick Murphys in Boston, in Boston on St. Patrick's Day.
Wow! Now that's a gig. That's so Dropkick Murphys in Boston on St. Patrick's.
Hang on, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you something because I did that would have been a gig. I did a European tour of them about 2 years ago. Look, and I got this. I don't know if you can see this there.
Oh, there you go.
No, hang on, look. Dropkick Murphys, Flogger Molly, on a bottle of beer. So
nice.
So I'm with the crowd. And then I had some solo shows because I do quite a lot of solo acoustic shows, you know, like the punk Bob Dylan kind of thing. But I had to pull it all because that's when the lockdown kicked in. And it was a drag. I was going to end up in New York and finish mixing the album. So,
when you do the thing with Earl, is that both of you playing? Do you play acoustic and he plays electric, or is it a band behind you?
No, it's a band. It's a full band. Got a drummer and a bass player. Jim Lowe on the bass, Chris Musto on the drums.
Okay.
And I play the rhythm guitar. I kind of like, you know, when I'm singing. You can put on more of a show if you're playing the rhythm guitar. And all the songs I write, I've always written on the acoustic. And I kind of like that sort of Spiders from Mars thing, you know, where Bowie used to play the rhythm. Yep. But playing with Earl, he's a loud fucker. And I had to get my Les Paul Jr. out in the end because it's just so I could hear myself.
We're gonna jump all over the place, but we're gonna go where the horse leads us. But how did you get involved with Earl Slick?
Well, maybe about 10 years ago now. It was kind of funny. There's a friend of mine who's a fashion designer, English guy. And when we was touring with the Pistols, he kept trying to get in contact with all of us separately. I didn't really know him then, to try and give us some clothes. And he was so persistent. I thought, you know, I'd answer him, and he gave us some clothes, which was kind of cool. And we wore them, and I became friends with him. And he also writes a few songs and does some recording. And this is going back a long way. He put some stuff up on MySpace. He lives in New York.
Going back a little way, yeah.
And he called me up and he said, Glenn, this guy's called me up, says he likes what I'm doing, and could we do something together maybe? And I said, well, why do you need to ask me? Do you think it's a good idea? And he said, well, he seems cool. I said, who is it? And he said, Earl Slick. I said, well, you can do it, you silly sod, right? and then he said, if we do some recording, will you put some bass on it? And I said, yeah, just send me the files. I've got a little studio at home. Then a couple of days later, he bumped into Clem Burke, and he said Clem would play drums on it. And then I said, well, look, if you can get Clem to do it, book a studio, I'll just come over to the States. And that's where I met Elle for the first time. And we had we got on pretty good. We got a real kind of Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau kind of thing going on.
The odd couple, right?
Yeah, the first song, he said, what key is it in? And I said, I think this one's in A. And he got his capo out, you know, to change the key of the thing. I said, that's cheating, right? And he went, oh, wise guy, you know. So he was off straight away. Anyway, we did a couple of things like that. We did a few little club shows in New York and the surrounding area. But then I was making an album a few years back, and I asked Slim Jim Phantom to play drums on it. And that's on my Good To Go album, which was the last album that came out. And I said, you got any ideas for a guitarist? And he said, well, how about Earl Slick? And I didn't know that Slim Jim and Earl knew each other. So it all just kind of fell into place.
I saw
you. Next thing, you end up in lockdown in my house. So there you go.
I saw a couple of clips that you posted of you and Earl just playing acoustic together. Was that in your house?
Yeah, it's in my house. Yeah, sitting on the sofa. No, it was just kind of those FaceTime lockdown kind of thing.
Yeah, listen, anybody out there, there's a couple of great clips that's out there with Glenn and Earl just playing acoustic in his living room. They're go check those out. Those are great. You know, I saw you play a couple years ago, and I know kind of all these guys. It's very, I hate to use the word incestuous, but I saw you a couple years ago with in New York with Slim Jim and Robert Gordon and Chris Spedding.
Oh yeah, that was about maybe that must be about 10 years ago now. We played at I remember we played at BB King's, didn't we?
That's right. That's where I saw you. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
And
cool.
like, you know, and as a New Yorker and as a kid who grew up in New York, you know, Robert Gordon is, you know, we love Robert Gordon in New York City. He used to play New York in the 80s and 90s, you know, all the time, everywhere. He's a big fan favorite in New York. We love him.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, but mind you, he's got a bit of a water matter about him. I like Robert, but he's got a bit of a water matter about him. And him with Earl Slick in the same band together, because Earl played with him as well. You know, so everyone kind of knows each other. But we did a few shows, and that was Chris Spedding on guitar on that one.
Yeah, we were there, Laura Zeitlin, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how did you come up? Where did you grow up? How did you come up? And how did music come into your life? Did you grow up in a musical household?
Not kind. Yes and no. Not with my parents, but where I was brought up, we lived at number 18, and my grandparents lived at number 28, and they're like little two down houses, terraced houses. And my nan played the piano. She was like over here we call her a pub pianist. She didn't play in pubs, but she had that kind of, you know, all wrong notes and all. So there was music around and stuff. But also, where I was brought up, it was one of the very first sort of kind of West Indian immigrant areas in England.
Where would that be?
It's a place called Kensal Green. It's not far from like Ladbroke Grove, Portobello Road.
Okay.
But they had all their fantastic music. You know, it was all blue beat and ska. And, you know, there's some real kind of good stuff going on in it. You know, I'm about 10 years old. It was the height of the mod thing coming in England, and we didn't have a national radio station, and there was all these pirate radio ships just outside British territorial waters, which coincided with little transistor radios coming in. Mm-hmm. And they would play like early Kinks and the Who and the Yardbirds and the Stones and the Small Faces. And then we had this fantastic TV show called Ready, Steady, Go, which I think was probably the best TV show and rock show in the world ever, where all those bands would play live. They had Dusty Springfield on the show, and she'd been to the States, and she discovered Tamla Motown. She brought Tamla Motown to. It was such a great time, and it just all kind of seeped into me somehow, you know. And that was like the 3-minute pop song when it was at its zenith, I think.
Our resident historian Chucky Brown says he would also listen to a pirate radio station playing oldies.
Yeah,
so I
guess the only thing then, they weren't oldies, they were new, you know.
You know, I want to ask you a question. Maybe you could answer this. What is skiffle? Skiffle is something that as an American always sort of confused me. I know this is a little bit before your time, but what was skiffle in the UK?
Well, it was a bit before my time, but it was just prior to the rock and roll thing. I think the closest thing, it was kind of like an English version of rockabilly.
Okay.
Right, but mainly played by people who were particularly rock and roll, because it hadn't happened. It was a bit folky, but they probably didn't have a drum kit, but they would have a washboard instead. You know, maybe kind of little bit bluegrassy kind of, but not really. You know, it was like a different kind of folk music somehow. But yeah, but all people like. It was a guy who was like the king of skiffle, and I think you might have heard of him in America or a certain age group, but it was a guy called Lonnie Donegan. And people like Van Morrison and Jeff Beck and maybe Ronnie Wood and Eric Clapton, they all cite this guy as what got them into music. So it was kind of important in its way. There weren't any massive hits, but and I think possibly the biggest hit you might have was an American song, Cumberland Gap. Do you know that song? Mm-hmm. That was kind of like the skiffle kind of thing, but it was a bit before my time.
So as a teenager, when did you pick up guitar? What inspired you to pick up guitar and sort of go in that direction?
I think just from that, the show, the Ready Steady Go show, my favourite band on that was the Small Faces, and the guy in the band, Ronnie Lane, the bass player, there was just something about them that was a bit different, and they was all little guys, so I mean, I never really understood the name at first. I thought it was a silly name. I was talking to Bernard Rhodes, who managed the Clash, who was that age group, but he said, no, it's a great name. I said, well, explain it. And he said, well, a face was somebody who was on the scene. You know, there was a real happening.
Okay.
So they were the small.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So now you know. Anything else you want to know? That's good. But anyway, I got my folks to buy me a guitar for Christmas. But it was a bit hard. You know, those little metal strings and things really hurt your fingers when you're 10. So I never really kind of took it seriously. But then I did maybe when I was about 14, 15. I started paying a bit more attention to it.
Our friend Al Jurassic Punk says, I know you were huge Faces fans since the early 70s. When you ended up playing with them for those reunion concerts, it must have been a dream come true.
Not off, yeah. I mean, it was the band. I used to stand in front of the mirror.
That's incredible.
They became the Faces. I didn't even realize there was a connection. And one of the first albums I bought, when I was a young kid, we used to have an old radiogram at home, you know, like with a radio and a record player, a big piece of furniture. And I didn't really have any records. And my uncle gave me all these old 78 records. And so the first records I really put on were like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and Elvis and El Bostic and people like that. But they came in a cardboard sleeve with stitching down it with a hole in the middle. And when I was about 14 or 15, I went down to Portobello Road. There's a record store there called Rock On Records, which is in the Rocker, you know, by Thin Lizzy. I get my records through in a Rock On store. And I found a record that looked like a 78. So I bought it. But it happened to be the Faces' second album, Long Player, and they'd done it to look like a 78. So that was
wow.
We're kind of linked. And I became a big fan of them. When I had the Rich Kids, we were recording and we needed some keyboards on the track. And Mick Ronson was producing us. And I said, can you put some piano on this thing? And he had a go, and it didn't sound right. I mean, he was a fantastic musician, but it wasn't the right kind of rock and roll player. And he said, what do you mean, like Jerry Lee Lewis? I said, no, not really, like Ian McLagan from the Faces. And he said, well, I can't play like that. And the engineer in the studio overheard us, and he said, well, he was down here last week. I've got his phone number. So we said, come on, let's call him up. And we got Mick Ronson to call him up. He came down the next day, started playing.
Wow.
I got on with him like a house on fire. He did a tour with us. And to be honest, he's such a fantastic, not only piano player, but organ player. He's up there with Booker T, you know, and he toured with my band, Rich Kids. Well, and we became very good friends. And we kind of lost touch a bit. Then he was on the radio in England, and I called up the radio station. I said, I'll give this to Mac when he finishes, Matlock. And he called me up. Matt up, I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm doing this, that, and the other. I said, what do you really want to do? He said, I want to reform the Faces.
Yeah.
Right. I said, well, look, you know that I know that you know that I'm the right bloke for a job, put a word in for me. And it didn't happen immediately because Ronnie Lane had passed away by then.
Right.
And the next thing, I'm playing with him. And he just before we did actually start playing, he called me up and he said, Glenn, right, you sure you're up for this? And I said, Matt, I know all those songs backwards. And he said, oh, that's great. I said, it's just forwards I struggled with. And he laughed. And then that kind of got me the gig. But yeah, it's a really big buzz. I think that's the biggest thing I've done. You know, I love that, man.
And when you did the Faces thing, wasn't that Mick from Simply Red singing?
Yeah, Mick Hucknall. Yeah, Mick Hucknall. Yeah, they wanted Rod to do it, but he ummed and ahed. I don't know why. But anyway, Mick Hucknall did it, and he's a fantastic soul singer.
He has a beautiful voice, man. He's got an incredible voice. So you're a teenager. You pick up the guitar. We're not gonna get too deep into it for too long because there's a lot to talk about. But how did this whole Sex Pistols thing come into your orbit? I mean, how did you fall into that?
Well, it didn't exist.
Right.
At first, I started working in this sort of teddy boy shop. I don't know if you know what a teddy boy is in the States.
Yeah.
Like the 50s kind of.
Yeah, it's like a hardcore rockabilly.
Yeah, maybe. It's like, in American Graffiti, the movie.
Yeah.
And the guy, I had it on the tip of my tongue. The guy who wrote Nut Rocker. The guy who wrote Nut Rocker. And
who wrote what?
Nuts Rocker. Down, 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 down.
I don't know.
Thing.
Oh,
Kim Fowley.
Oh, okay.
He's in American Graffiti, and he's wearing a draped coat, and he looks like a teddy boy in it, right? Which is kind of an English version of the American thing. Where am I going with this? Anyway, there was a store down there. I got a job working there, and Steve and Paul started coming, and they had a fledgling band, and they were looking for a bass player. I said, well, I play the bass. I'd got a bass not long before them, and that was it, really. So we started rehearsing and learning to play with each other, and then after a while, we got John. And this was when everybody, you know, even the milkman and your bank manager, I had a bank manager back there. I had you know.
That was one of the quotes that I wrote, one of your quotes. Everyone had long hair then, even the milkman. So what we used to do was if someone had short hair, we would stop them in the street and ask them if they fancied themselves as a singer.
Yeah. You've done your research. It's true. That's what we did.
Yeah.
But you know, there were few and far people between who had short hair. But, you know, we wouldn't do it in somewhere straight, but we did it in somewhere near Malcolm's shop down the King's Road, where more hipper kind of people were going. And that was it. It sort of kind of came together, really.
And I just also, I was looking at, is this some of the options you guys considered for names for the band were Les Bombs, Subterraneans, The Damned, Beyond, Teenage Novel, Kid Gladlove, and Creme de la Creme.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah,
I love that. I love Creme de la Creme.
Well, there you go. I don't think anybody's used that one yet.
I think I might have to use it.
The one was taken, and a friend of mine used Kid Gladlove, which was kind of a play on Kid Gladlove. But yeah,
someone picked up The Damned too. The Damned got used eventually.
Yeah. So there you go. So those were Malcolm's ideas, but Malcolm's shop had changed his name to Sex by then.
Yeah.
So we were the Pistols from the Sex shop, the Sex Pistols. So there you go. And
then you had a hand in writing all that original material that ended up on Nevermind the Bollocks. You basically wrote all the music, right?
Yeah, not all of it, but a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, there was a bit of a collective consciousness going on, but you know, some things I wrote and some things Steve wrote, and it all went going four ways. But yeah, I had a big hand in that. But particularly, I think the first three singles. So yeah, and it was kind of quite. You know, I think it's such a great album because we gigged it a lot. You know, and there was things that didn't quite make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bands' first albums are the ones that they got the deal on because they've done all the demos and then they've done the touring and songs don't work, so they fall by the wayside and stuff like that. So you only end up with the good stuff.
It's the second record. It's the sophomore effort that's always the big challenge, right?
Well, it is, but then they come through on the third record. So I think what bands should do is put the third record out second. You know, what's wrong with that?
Just skip over it.
Yeah.
Another quote that I love that I found. Hold on, where is this? Hold on. Okay. Okay, this is great. This is great. So their first gig was arranged by Matlock, who was studying at St. Martin's College. The band played at the school on November 6, 1975, in support of a band called Bazooka Joe, arranging to use their amps and drums. The Pistols performed several cover songs, including Substitute, Small Faces, What You Gonna Do About It, and Stepping Stone by the Monkees. Before they could play a few original songs they had written, Bazooka Joe pulled the plug as they saw their gear being trashed. A brief physical altercation between members of the two bands took place on stage. Bazooka Joe. Now, I know who Bazooka Joe was. Let me ask any... Oh, here you go. Somebody got it right off the bat. Here we go. Bazooka Joe had Adam Ant as the singer, right?
Yeah, that's right. But no, he wasn't a singer. He was the bass player. He was having a bass player. But You know who the singer was? Right. Have you ever seen Casino Royale? You know the James Bond movie?
Of course.
And it's got fantastic graphics, you know, to also do with gambling and, you know, like cards, like hearts and clubs and diamonds. And they kind of got a look about them. And the opening credits are like that. And the end credits are like that. And they were so good when I saw the movie, I stayed to watch who did it. And it came out, and it's about 5 minutes. Danny Kleiman. And he was the lead singer in Bazooka Joe. He did the graphics for that. But he made a little film, and somebody asked him about that show with the Pistols, you know, and what happened and why they got so annoyed with us. And he said they wasn't particularly annoyed with the music we was playing, but because their PA system was getting trashed, they were worried because they hadn't paid for it yet, and it was on hire purchase. So that was why they did it.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I can dig it. You know.
Yeah. It's rock. You know, just in the middle of all this, in the middle of all this melee, in all this early Sex Pistols stuff, and the violence, and you know that sort of the violent vibe. What were you thinking to yourself? Were you like, is this great, or were you, I don't know about this, or like where did you sit in this whole thing?
Me particularly.
Or... Yeah. Like, what were your personal feelings like? Because getting a little bit of your background, and I know you weren't hell bent on destruction. You're not that kind of guy. You know, it's like
I've got a good right hook.
Yeah. What were your feelings when you were sort of in the middle of the storm early on?
It's kind of weird, you know, if that's your first band and you're trying to back it up, and it's your music that's being played, and there's these kind of characters that you've learned to play with, you're up for it, you want to make it work. And when you're in a band, you don't really know no different. You don't really know that what's going on with you isn't what's happening to all the other bands all the time. So you're kind of blissfully unaware of the impact you're making a little bit, I think, But saying that, Steve was a real character. Paul kept his head down, played fantastic drums. John was totally out there. He was like the Jonathan Swift of punk. And I saw myself as like the Entwistle of the thing, he kind of kept it grounded.
Yeah. And let's see, this is one that I like here. This one here sort of sums it up a little bit. I like this one here. I like that Rickenbacker you're playing there.
I've still got that, actually, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's in a museum in Liverpool. It was in the Hall of Fame for a bit. I lent it to him, but I thought I'd better have it back. So it's in a museum in Liverpool.
Wow.
Wine red, it was good.
That's awesome.
So what do you play? Do you play bass?
I can play anything. I sing in one of the original New York hardcore bands, a band called Antidote.
Right.
But I'm a filmmaker by nature. I'm a film director. But music is my life, and I had a whole career doing music videos and extreme sports films and documentary films, and music's my life. Music is the tie that binds us together.
Yeah, it's common currency.
Absolutely. So things are moving along with the Pistols, and things are getting kind of crazy. I know you left the band. It was your decision to leave the band, correct?
Yeah.
What was behind that?
Me and John didn't really see eye to eye. It was becoming a different kind of thing. I think when I was in the band originally, it was a bit like the early Who, it sounded like the Who, but it was like a band by the kids for the kids. And Malcolm had these other ideas, it was like some kind of, this is the way I saw it at the age of 19, that he was trying to pitch it as some kind of comic strip kind of thing, like a punk rock version of Kiss, or it wasn't where I was at. Me and John weren't saying eye to eye, so that was it.
Or like the Ramones were a little bit of a comic strip, we always kind of.
Yeah, okay, that kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you were, you were placed in the band by Sid Vicious, but there was never any animosity between you and Sid, right? You guys were friends.
Kind of, yeah. Well, we were neighbours. He lived near me, and he was a bit more wayward than me. He was a bit of a liability sometimes, but it was kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
So we actually did a one-off gig just to prove that we weren't total enemies.
Was that the Vicious White Kids?
Yeah, Vicious White Kids. And that was called that because I was in the Rich Kids at the time. And with Steve New, the guitarist, did it. And Rat Scabies played drums, but he had a spin-off band called the White Cats. So Vicious White Kids.
Yeah, our resident historian says he spoke to Sid in a pub and put Vicious White Kids together. Rat Scabies, Sid Vicious, Glenn Matlock, and Steve New, and Nancy Spungen on background vocals. Well, we don't have to.
Hang on. Most of it's right, apart from the last bit. When we did the gig, Nancy got up at the sound check, right? And I sort of got off the stage and went to the back of the hall and spoke to the sound guy. I said, Henry? He said, don't worry about it. I've turned on my...
You know what's, I mean, looking back now, what's incredible is how young these people were when they passed away. You know, how young, you know, Sid was, Nancy Spungen, people were so damn young, you know, when they passed away. In retrospect now, it's like unbelievable.
That's kind of sad, you know. So you have to have some, I don't know, just some sort of kind of little bit that you hang on to in life. But with all, I'm sure you've had your ups and downs with.
Absolutely.
And me too, you know. We're here now. How old are you now?
I am 57.
Right. Like Heinz. Yeah. Well, I'm 64 now, so there you go. But it's an achievement to do that, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, you know, these are the good times right now. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, do you know what? At the moment, it's like everybody's a bit fed up and kind of stuck, but it's a good time to think. And when we did the Pistols back then, there was a real sort of vibe of not a lot going on. And I think it's in periods like this where kind of good things come through. You know, if everybody's kind of really happy all the time, you just get bollocks vapid music. So, you know, these things are sent to try us, and hopefully somebody somewhere is coming up with something pretty good.
Now that you got me to divulge my age on my show, people I thought you were in your late 40s.
Oh, well, there you go.
Listen, everybody out there, you all know that my peer group is, you know, Roger and Jimmy and those guys. You know, me and Roger Moret are the same age, so there you go. Tell us a little bit about Rich Kids. You know, when you left Pistols, and you know what was behind that. What was the overall attitude of Rich Kids?
Well, what was the overall attitude? I wanted to do. It would have been very easy to kind of get a Johnny Rotten Mark II, you know, and be like a second division punk band, which I didn't want to do. And I want to play music because I like music. You know, I like melodies and I like certain kinds of pop music, but I do think it's got to have some consequence to it somehow. You know, not vapid pop music, but I think one of my all-time favourite songs is "Groovin" by the Young Rascals. But there's kind of quite a strong message in that. So I wanted to get a singer who could sing. I found this guy Midure who'd already had a couple of hits, but had been and gone by then, who had a very distinctive voice. And we were kind of up against the punk thing only just getting into the rest of the country. So I think we was a little bit before our time. But two of the guys, Midge and Rusty, they did a little side project, Visage, which kind of, for good or bad, was the beginnings of the new romantic movement in England. You know, where all those bands like Spandau Ballet and Duran come, who would come to our gigs. You know, they would be in the front row at clubs and stuff. So, but then through that, I got to work with Mick Ronson, which was kind of cool, you know.
Our friend Alan says Ghosts of Princess in Towers is one of the greatest singles in musical history.
Yeah, it's the one that got away. No, it should have been a hit, that. So, and it's got Ronson playing piano at the very end of it. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and somewhere I got a cassette. I was doing some demos for the second album, and Ronson came down. I said, "You're going to play?" And he said, "I'll play the drums." So I got a tape of him playing drums somewhere. He wasn't very good. He could keep time.
I want to ask you about this. I know we're skipping around a little bit, but I'd love to get the backstory on this record that you play on.
All right. Now, what do you want to know?
Just how'd you get involved with Iggy? What was the experience like?
Well, basically, when the Rich Kids thing was not happening, there was a few things went down, and I thought, oh, I don't know. I kind of broke the band up, and I didn't know what to do. And I was sitting at home, and I thought, what on earth am I going to do now? Wouldn't it be great if the phone rang? And I'm not kidding you. 2 minutes later, the phone rang, and this is in the days before mobile telephones. And I answered, and the guy said, "Is Glenn Matlock there?" And I said, "Yeah, speaking." And he said, "Well, he said, "You won't know me. My name's Peter Davis, and I manage Iggy Pop. And we're here in London, and Jim's here, and he'd like to have a word with you." So it's like 2 minutes ago, I'm thinking, what am I going to do now? And I said, "What's up?" And he said, "Well, we're in town. We're looking for a bass player." He said, "Do you want to meet up for a drink?" And I said, "Where are you staying?" And he said that the Athenaeum Hotel in Piccadilly opposite the Ritz. It's quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Who's buying?" He said, "We are." So I was down there in about 20 minutes, and we got on pretty good. Next thing, I was on tour because they'd made an album before called New Values.
Yes.
And the guy who played bass on the album was going to play second guitar on the tour, so they were short of a bass player. And the agent that was the Rich Kids agent was also Iggy's agent, a guy called John Giddens, who now puts on the Isle of Wight Festival.
Yep.
He knew that I didn't have a gig, and he knew that they were looking for a bass player, so he suggested me. So that was it, and that was kind of quite a big deal thing for me, because everything I'd done then, even though I'd done the Pistols and the Rich Kids, you know, when we toured it, we didn't have like proper roadies. We had our mates doing it who didn't know how. And Iggy had been touring for years. And next thing, I'm doing a big 30-day European tour. And then I went to the States for the first time with Iggy. And the first show, we did a little warm-up show at the Hot Club in Philadelphia. And then the next show we headlined the Palladium in New York on Halloween with the Cramps supporting us.
Wow.
And that was like the first time.
There you go. There, Chucky Brown.
In New York, I'm 23 years old. It was like fantastic, you know.
There you go.
And not only that, because it was Halloween, which we never used to really celebrate.
Right.
The whole crowd were in Halloween costumes, and backstage was Debbie Harry dressed as a witch, and she gave me a kiss on the cheek. Like, yeah, welcome to New York.
And New York was a very exciting, vibrant place, you know, in 1980. It was rich in music and it was a very exciting.
Yeah, some great clubs, you know, the Club and Hurrah. And,
oh boy, now we're talking. Come on now.
Well, we actually played with Iggy. We did a tour of the States, and we put an extra gig in at the end and played at Hurrah and Bowie.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Hurrah was a place that as a young let's say high school kid or junior high school, we used to sneak into Hurrah's. You know, that's a place that we could get into. So I was getting into that place at like 15, 16 years old. And I remember at 15 years old, we saw a band play, and it was one guy with a keyboard and one guy sort of in front, you know, twitching away and just going, and we were like,
Suicide, yeah.
We were like, this is. We thought it was a joke. We were young kids, you know, from the Bronx, and we were like, and we carried on with that. It was only later that I realized that it was suicide.
Right.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah, Tony Matora says, "I met my wife at Hurrah." Well, there you go.
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah, what else was there? Peppermint Lounge, I remember playing.
Oh yeah, sure. Peppermint Lounge.
White flagstones on the floor. Because I dug going there because when I was working at Malcolm's shop, we had a jukebox, and he had the world's shortest record. It was in the Guinness Book of Records, which was Peppermint Twist by Joey D and the Starlighters. But it was only the world's shortest record because they had half the song on the A side and the other half on the B side.
That's what they.
That's kind of cheating a little bit.
That's what they did. That's what they did back then. Let me shout out a couple of sponsors, and hang with me, and we'll be right back in a second, okay?
Well, I'm going to go and have a quick oily rag.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you got a couple minutes. What's happening? You know what this is, and you know why you're here. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. By the way, Jim says hello, everybody. Things are great down here in Florida, and he misses you guys. Our guest today is Glenn Matlock, very proficient. Glenn Matlock, member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Sex Pistols, Rich Kids, many, many, many other. That said, how about we shout out the Texas Silver Rush? It's a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo, photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Happy birthday, Vinnie Stigma, tomorrow. During this current pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, at www.thetexassilverrush.com. And while we're at it, Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in the East Village of New York City at 123 First Avenue, featured in New York Magazine, the New York Times, and Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. The award for Best Veggie Burger goes to the Organic Grill. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free for all you gluten-free motherfuckers. This year, they're celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. After 3 months of being closed and now open for deliveries, get in touch with them and order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. Want to mention a couple of other things here. Two of our friends have started a Facebook group called Women of the Pit. It's for all you gals, women, goyles, females of the species. There is a Facebook page just for you. Look it up. It's called Women of the Pit. Two big supporters of the show started it, so go check that out. Lori and Dacia. What else? The New York Hardcore Chronicles Live Comments Crew is also another page on Facebook. Go check that out. Also, I know what you're thinking out there. You're saying, you know what, Drew Stone, I've been watching the show for a while. I love the show, but I've been lurking in the darkness, hiding in the shadows. I want to come out and I want to support the show. How can I do that? Well, funny you should ask. There's a Patreon page that you can come and support the show on. There's different tiers, 96 tiers on the Patreon page. There's a $2 tier, a $5 tier, a $10 tier, a $25 tier. So all that, and if you go support, I'm sorry, someone's banging at the window. They want in, the zombies want in. Anyway, support the Patreon page. Please, your support is what makes the show happen. Also, there is a PayPal page. You know, where is my PayPal page? There is a PayPal page. Here you go. Sorry. My mojo got fucked up. Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. There is a PayPal page. There is a Patreon page. Please support the show. I want to shout out a couple of my new patrons: Victor Mogliensky, Robert Meyerson, John Bernays, Christopher Moores, Maddie Solveberg, and a big, I got to do a big shout out to Brian Ramsey, who just came aboard as a Patreon. I want to thank you, Brian. That was very generous of you. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I appreciate it. Also, Davor Gojevic in Germany, I believe. Davor Gojevic made a contribution to PayPal. I'm shouting you out too, bro. I want to shout out everybody who supports the show. That's That's what makes this thing happen. You know, so if you're out there and you're lurking, please come in from the cold. That said, yeah, they're coming to get you, Barbara. I know it was kind of like that. Someone was like, what's going on in there? Come on, man. Only a jerk would lurk. Hey, Maddie, thank you, brother, for being a patron. Don't lurk. There you go. Come out of the closet, you know. So Daisha, there you go. Daisha, damn it. God damn it. Yes, Daisha and Lori Dawn have started the Facebook page known as Women of the Pit. So there you go. Also, just real quick, want to mention another upcoming show. We have the Global Unity show coming up with Lee and with Lai and Riz from Unregenerate Blood and King Lai Chi, hardcore from Beijing and Hong Kong. We're looking forward to that. Also, want to mention we got the holiday show coming up. Now, listen, people are asking about this holiday show. I think we're just going to bring some special guests. We're going to bring some guests on, and it's going to be like a people's show. You know what I mean? I think we're going to do one of those kind of shows. We'll have some guests on, but I want to sort of keep it a little informal and bring people on and have a good one. Also, I want to announce this show. You may not know about this, but now you're going to know. On Wednesday, December 30th, this is a new show. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Randy Blythe from Lamb of God is coming on the show. So we're excited to have Randy on. Also, not only a great vocalist and frontman, but a great photographer. So here we go. That's right. Randy Blythe is coming on the show. So, hey, we get to everybody sooner or later. You know what I mean? And so there you go. That said, let me clear the deck here. Let's bring our guest back on. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that. That said, let's bring our guest back on. Yeah, Randy rules, man. We already had Chris from Mucky Pup on. Do your homework, bro. Go watch the shows we already did. We already had Chris on. Yes, the Mighty King. Yo, how's Tallahassee, Ack? You know, I like Florida this time of the year. I'm coming back. By the way, I'm going back to Florida. I'm going back to New York on Friday. So there you go. That said, let's bring our guests back on. Let me clear the deck here. We'll take some questions in a little bit. Here we go. Mr. Glenn Matlock.
Hey, how you doing?
You still smoking, man?
Yeah, not now. I put it out. It's my last remaining vice. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that? That looks like one of my father's awards. What is that? Is that an Emmy in the background there? What is that I see on the table back there?
Well, there's several things though.
The one on the left that's holding the thing up like that.
What with that one? That's my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it? Hang
yes,
on.
We want to see it, buddy. We want to see it.
It's coming to you. It's kind of look. There's two things there. There's that. I'm saying, see, Glenn Matlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2006. That was a long time. That's 14 years ago. I kind of like that, but do you know what? I dig this.
What's this?
Well, hang on. It's hard to. It says Sex Pistols. I did a show in northern Spain a few years back. And I forget the name of the town. Oh, hang on. It's like Perganoni or something like that. And lots of places in Europe, they kind of have festivals that are kind of sponsored by the local kind of authorities, the council.
Yep.
There was a town just outside the town, like a suburb of the town, that wanted to do their own festival, but they didn't fall within the remit of getting the money, so they got their own thing together, and it was like a town of punk rockers. It was near San Sebastian and all the kids put on the thing themselves in the local town square. And we were like the headline band. I got a band together. Chris Benton come and did it with me, and the girls who made the sandwiches, you know, for the catering, they made that and come and presented me with it. So it's like kind of cool.
And I
thought it was weird, and then realised they had to change the black hair to my colour hair at the last minute.
And you cherish it more than it's you have.
I think it's cool to have this. But I like that one, and I like this one. So there you go.
That's awesome. You know, I saw you play a couple of years ago with Mike Ness from Social Distortion.
Oh yeah, the LAMF shows. Yeah, that was fun.
Those were awesome.
That was good. Yeah.
And of course,
not bad for an afternoon's rehearsals.
Is that what it was?
Well, it was kind of weird because everybody had been doing something else, and I'd actually been in Australia doing some shows with some mates over there, and then I went to New Zealand and did a couple of solo shows, and then I flew to New York, and it was kind of funny because I'd actually, although I've been to all these places before, I'd never actually circumnavigated the globe before, you know, all in one way. So I started off in London, flew to Australia through, you know, via Hong Kong or Singapore or somewhere, and then went to New Zealand and then came back across the Pacific. So I felt like Sir Francis Drake, but also like Sir Francis Drake with total jet lag. And we had an afternoon's rehearsal, then the first show at the Bowie Electric. So I was a bit spaced out, but I was glad it came off of work.
And of course, that was the late, great Walter Lure.
Yeah, he sadly passed away earlier this year.
And you go back quite a ways, right? Wasn't that early Pistols tour? Weren't those guys on that tour, the Heartbreakers?
Yeah, the Heartbreakers were on the Anarchy tour. That's where I met him. Yeah, I like Walter, and I think, I mean, I know people like Walter, but unless you've seen the original Heartbreakers,
yeah,
who were fantastic the first time we saw them, they were great. But Walter was like the linchpin of the band. You know, he held the whole thing together. He was. You know, and the interplay between him and Johnny, you know, with the singing, he was an important character, I think, you know.
Absolutely, and you know, in later years, you know, when he you know, he really got it together. He was just a really kind soul. He was a really nice guy, and
yeah, but you know, he had another career outside rock and roll. He'd done other things that he was interesting to talk to, and he's very erudite. And you know, some thing with people in bands, they can only tend to talk about bands a little bit. And I like people who've lived in the wider world, and I think you need to do that with your music because then you got something to bring to the table. You know. So.
Let me ask you about.
Here we go.
Our friend Glenn says Glenn and Earl Slick, great combo.
Yeah. There's more where that came from, George. George, what's that? That's the shortest name I've ever seen.
George N.
Yeah, it could be George I. That would be a bit shorter, but
it's like a Alcoholics Anonymous. Like I'm George N. Like, you know, I'm Drew S. You know, it's like it's okay, George. You know, we don't. He wants to remain anonymous. Here you are with a friend of ours, with Duff McKagan. What was going on? What was this about?
That was about 10 years ago in New York. I was in town. I know Duff. I went mountain biking with him in LA once with Steve Jones. In fact, he's still got my sort of cheap, what do you call them? You know, like running shoes. I left them around his house. I said, we'll put them on eBay. But I was in New York and he heard I was in town. He said, we're doing a gig. Do you want to get up and do a number? I said, yeah, I'd love to. Where are you doing it? He said, Times Square. Right. And it was like the middle of summer. It was like 110 degrees. And it's kind of funny. There's a couple of other pictures, but earlier on, you know, when we were setting up, the guy had the Trash and Vaudeville badge, you know, button. Yeah. But just at the side of the stage of that picture was Jimmy Webber, I knew pretty well, you know. Yeah.
You know, this looks familiar to me now that I'm looking at this. Was this part of that CBGB's Fest thing that they were doing? It was like a CBGB's festival thing?
No, I played. Where did we play? I played there as part of that, and he was doing. Yeah, it might have been that and there was all different things in different places, like the Mercury Lounge and.
Right. I did the film that I directed. One of the films that I've directed actually screened at that. It was a great night.
What was the movie?
I directed a film called "Who the Fuck Is That Guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a documentary about Michael Alago, who's a gay Hispanic guy who grew up in a Hasidic neighborhood in Brooklyn, who went on to change the face of the music business. It was just on Netflix and Amazon Prime for a couple years. He signed Metallica and White Zombie, but
so
he also,
a record company kind of guy, yeah.
Yeah, an A&R guy,
Yeah.
but a real interesting character. He also signed Nina Simone in later on in her career. So he had his hand into a couple of things. Also, I want to ask you about you played a couple tracks with the Damned, right?
Well, I kind of did, and I kind of didn't. I'm friends with Scabies, and this goes back for a long time ago. And he was doing a project, and he said, "But I put some bass on it." And I said, "Where are you doing it?" And he said, "This place down outside London in Surrey somewhere, like a residential studio."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Yeah, I'll come down and do it." And when I got there, through the glass doors between the control room and the studio, Rat was talking to their bass player. And I knocked on the door, and he sort of come in. And as I opened the door, he said to their bass player, "Glen's here now. Fuck off."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Oh man."
Ouch.
Anyway, so I played on a few tracks. I didn't know what it was for, and then it presumably came out on the Damned thing. But I thought he was out of the Damned at that stage. So yeah, there you go.
Wow.
It was one of those the floor open up and swallow me moments.
Oof.
Yeah.
Let's take a couple of questions. Everybody out there, please, any questions you have for Glenn,
with me.
please post them up. Here you go. Museum Girl asks, "Hey Glenn, any plans for Earl to come back to the UK?"
Yeah, I mean, but nobody really knows what's going on at the moment. We had some gigs booked in Russia in early spring, but they've everything's on the back burner. Yeah, but if that happens, my plan is to get the new record out, which L's all over. Have a release on that and tour as many places as we can. So yes, UK, yes, Europe, yes, the States. We played at the Fuji Festival in Japan last year, which was kind of fun. So yeah, we got a good unit, I think.
Cool.
Who's Museum Girl? What museum? And why have you got 2 R's?
Yeah, listen, we get an eclectic bunch here on this show. It's like hooligans, criminals, thugs, mutants, cyborgs, and housewives. I get an interesting worldwide audience here. Here's this is an interesting one. Okay, here's time for our resident historian, Chucky Brown. Where is it? Chucky Brown, who does his homework, and his question is, can he speak on when he hung out with David Bowie in his limo?
Yeah, I can talk about that. It was actually when we'd done that show at Hurrah.
Ah!
All right, and Bowie came down, and we were going to the Mud Club, and we all piled in his limo, which was the same car and driver, I believe, from The Man Who Fell to Earth. And we all squeezed in, but there wasn't that much room. And I ended up sitting on Bowie's knee going down Park Avenue. And those old-fashioned cars, old-fashioned sort of town car limos, on the outside, they had a big bit of chrome, like an old-fashioned kid.
Sure.
Well, on the inside, you must have been in one. In the inside, they would have mirrors. The other side of that bit, little mirrors, like vanity mirrors. Not in Bowie's one. He had a little miniature painting.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all about out of it, me particularly. I said, hang on a second. That's a Matisse, isn't it?
Ooh.
And he went, yeah. And he was quite surprised I knew what a Matisse was. I can't remember it. There's somebody like that. And I looked down the other way and I went, that's a Picasso, isn't it? And he went, yeah. And having had a drink, I said, Put your fingers in your ears, Louis. My son's just walked in. I said to Bowie,
Hey, Louis, what's up, bro?
come and say hi.
Hey, Louis.
Oh, Louis, look.
Hey, is that you? Hey, Louis, is that Louis that plays in a band?
Oh, both do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yo, Louis, hey, Louis, say hi to the worldwide crowd, bro. Don't be nervous.
hello world.
Hey, Louis, you playing Wargasm?
No, that's my brother. I've got an older brother who's into the more heavier stuff. I'm more into the kind of like hip-hoppy world, you know?
Is that right? What are you into? What are you into?
I'll just go and make a cup of tea.
Do you know, there's an American group called Brockhampton. I think they're quite big there. Do you know them?
What's the name?
Brockhampton.
Brookhampton?
Yeah. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. I don't know how big they are there. They're big here, but like they're definitely American, you know?
Yeah, it's a crazy world. Like someone could be nothing here and they'll be huge over there, or vice versa. You know?
Yeah, I think it surprises them sometimes.
And so it's your brother that plays in Wargasm.
Yeah.
Got it.
We used to play in a band together up until a few years back, like a punk band. But you know,
Wow.
Dave, I don't know. We're not
Yeah, here's a question. Wait, I got a question for both of you. Wait, this is a good one. Where did I see this? Wait, hold on. This is for both of you. You ready?
Yeah, go.
Is punk dead?
Oh.
No,
It's not.
no, fucking
No.
no.
It's not the same as it was, but it's different. Punk is a very broad church, and I think punk is a catch-all name
I think
for all the stuff that is kind of falls through the cracks. But you know, it's like water. It kind of finds its way through, or it's like the truth that finally comes through, as you guys have just found out with your fantastic election. I don't know how you feel about that living in Florida, but
yeah, Florida's a world of its own, man. You know?
Anyway, can I just finish my Bowie story?
Please.
Nice to meet you.
Look, hey, Louis, nice talking to you, bro. Look me up when you're in New York, man.
Yeah, man, we'll do in a bit.
All right. I'm sorry, Glenn. Go ahead.
No, so anyway, I showed the two pictures, and having had a drink, I found myself saying before I could stop it, I said, well, you're a flash cunt then, aren't you? Right? And Bowie went, guess I am. So there you go.
What's the biggest difference between New York and London scene in the early days? I don't know. That's an odd question. I mean,
well, I don't know that there was much of a difference. I think, you know, people always, I'm sure American bands come to England, and when I go to New York, and sometimes I get asked to do some panel thing or something like that, and they always say, who came first, the Ramones or the Sex Pistols?
Right.
I love to say the Sex Pistols is just wind people up for a laugh, you know, but I think the truth of the matter is both bands came through at pretty much the same time, because they both got fed up with the same set of influences that were happening both, you know, like all the, in England, I'm sure you had it in America, all the sort of progressive rock thing and stuff, you know, are really kind of straight right-wing Bachman Turner Overdrive things.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why it came through. And when the Ramones came to London, we'd heard about those bands, you know, like Richard Hell and stuff like that, but nobody had actually made any records at that stage. I mean, nobody knew what the other one sounded like. When the Ramones came to London, we all went to see them at the
Roundhouse.
Well, I played a Roundhouse, but I've got a memory of seeing them at Dingwalls as well. But we was shocked at how similar they were to us in a kind of way.
Yeah.
But they weren't the same, you know. I mean, they had that cartoon strip thing going on, and we had Johnny Rotten as Jonathan Swift, you know. It's like...
And I guess, you know, there is quite a very similar that, you know, New York in that early 70s era was almost very similar to like post-war London, you know?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, you know, in some kind of way.
Here's a question.
We had a bomb hit. We'd had a bomb hit us because we'd had our bombs, and when I went to New York, it looked like a bomb had hit some of it. I couldn't believe, you know, where there was steam coming out of the ground instead of fixing that.
You ever see the movie Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro?
Yeah.
That's a real representation of New York back then. Chuck,
and the other thing, I do remember we used to stay at the Iroquois, sort of Midtown somewhere.
Oh man, what
I'm walking down Fifth Avenue or Sixth Avenue. You know that bit where there's the big library, just south of 42nd Street.
Yeah, that's the New York Library with the lions.
I remember walking past there. I was at the light, crossing over 42nd Street to go downtown, and there was this kind of Superfly guy, with one of those funny sort of almost like policeman's hats, but made out of things, selling uppers, downers, lewds, and what have you. You name it, I got it. And do you want any? I said, no, I'm fine, thanks. And he really got annoyed, and he followed me across the street, wanting to know why I didn't want to buy his way. It's like,
hold on. Someone just sent me I want to ask you about this thing. Listen, back then, also in New York, drug dealers were very aggressive. It's kids today don't have that reference point, but you'd walk down the street, drug dealers were really aggressive. And like Jack says, New York is a fun but scary city.
I was more interested in going to have myself a Boilermaker in the Blarney Stone,
Yeah, there you go. What are you? Here's one from our boy Chucky. What are you listening to nowadays? What kind of music? What's bringing you musically?
Well, I hear what these guys are doing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't listen to new music all the time. Like perhaps I should do, or like I used to as a young man. I kind of like a lot of bebop jazz, to be honest. I've been rechecking all that out. Then people like Mose Allison and
there you go,
Jacques Brel, Scott Walker. That's what I put. If I'm going to put a record on, I know it's something that I know I'm going to kind of like. So.
I gotta ask this one. A bunch of our people are asking about this. If I understand correctly, you were really the catalyst behind pulling these guys together in 1996, and how was it, man?
I didn't really get it together, but I was in LA and we hadn't spoken for years. This is in '95.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a little project there which didn't really work out, and I was staying with a friend, and I said, "Well, this ain't working out." He said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "You know what? I haven't spoken to Steve Jones in like kind of 17 years."
Mm-hmm.
And he went, And the next day he came back and he gave me his number. He said, "Call him up." And I went, "Oh." And then the next day he said, "Have you called him?" I went, "Oh." And this went on for about a week. And in the end I called up Steve. And he said, "I heard you was in town, come over." So I did. And as soon as I got there, he said, "Let's go and see John." And as soon as we got to John's, we all called up Paul, but because of the time difference, he was asleep or he was out. And then we went out to have some lunch. And Paul called us back, and it set a train in motion. But I think if I hadn't made that phone call, it wouldn't have happened.
And John was receptive to this. That's impressive. Yeah. That's great.
But, I think Steve was the keenest, but a lot of stuff had been said. I didn't really know if I should have. I did it. I'm glad we did it because it somehow it kind of built some bridges, mended some fences.
You guys. One of our people just sent me this. This is from a show you played in New York City in 1996. You played the Roseland Ballroom.
Yeah.
And you guys were great. You guys were great, man. In '96, man, you guys crushed it. It was really great.
Well, I'm glad you think that, but I think we was all, John said fat 40 and back. Both me and Paul were only 39 at the time, so we was annoyed about that. But I think we all thought we're only going to do. Nobody wanted to be left with egg on their faces just for the money.
Yeah.
So it was kind of good. But it was funny that Roseland Ballroom show, when we was playing there, it's just kind of going back to the Debbie Harry thing a little bit. When we was playing, there's like the mixing desk, the on-stage mixing desk on one side. My side of the stage, there's supposed to be nobody there.
Yeah.
And I'm playing away, and I thought, hang on, there's somebody behind the PA stack, in the darkness and the gloom.
Right.
And then I did another number. I thought, no, there is somebody there. And I went over, 2 people there. Do you know who it was?
Who?
Dennis Hopper and Uma Thurman.
Wow.
And Steve knew him. He'd invited them down. And again, Uma Thurman gave me a little peck on the cheek. So
I don't know what it is about Chucky Brown, but he seems to he it's like synchronicity.
Chucky Brown guy. I like his logo.
Yeah, was Dennis Hopper and Uma Thurman at the Sex Pistols
there you
reunion show at the Roseland Ballroom in New York City in '96.
Do you know what? I think I don't really need to be on there. You should get Chucky Brown in there, and he can tell you what I did when.
He's good, Chucky.
Yeah, Chucky.
Hey, Dennis Hopper, you know, real character. And but that first, let's call it a reunion tour. I just looked at the dates this morning, man. You guys went out there and played a bunch of dates going over. I mean, that was you guys.
Oh, yeah, we did the best part of 100 gigs around the world. It was a proper tour, you know.
Was it when it wound down at the end? Was it still enjoyable, or were you at that point enough already?
I think at the very end it was enough already, but that was tempered by ending up where I'd never been to before in my life, in Santiago in Chile.
Right.
And then we had a sort of a week off on the Copacabana in Rio. It wasn't so terrible. You know, some things you can just grin and bear it.
Listen, Santiago, Chile is a great place to play.
Yeah, I'd love to go back.
Oh, there's a very real music lovers, you know. That said, hey, a couple more questions. Our guest is Glenn Matlock. Please, another question or two. And why do people keep asking about Paul Weller? Were you going to work with Paul Weller? Why does this keep coming up?
I don't know. It's the first time I've seen it, but yeah, I'm friends with Weller. He did for me. When I left the Pistols, we were friends back then. You know, not big friends, but acquaintances. And there was talk about me possibly playing second guitar with him. Ah, right. And I went to some club somewhere. This was just me and Paul talking about it. And I bumped into Rick Butler and Bruce Foxton at a club. And they said, "You're going to come and join us?" And I said, "Yes." So Paul had obviously said something to him. And I said, "Well, let's have a play." And they said, "Well, will you wear a suit?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll wear a suit." And they said, "What, like ours?" And I said, "What, from Carnaby Cavern?" And they went, "Yeah." I said, "You must be bloody joking." And it never got further than that. So, but, you know, I like the jam. It was good. But I like what he does now, and I like the Style Council stuff.
I want to mention that your book, talk a little bit about I Was a Teenage Sex Pistol.
I wrote that prior to a long way before the tour, just the way to kind of, you know, you get mixed emotions about things, and it was kind of quite a cathartic thing to do. But I think it's quite funny, and when it's been out now, it's in its 6th or 7th imprint. You can get it online. Essential Books, I Was a Teenage Sex Pistol. You can get it as a ebook. So just search for it on Amazon.
Yeah, there it is, people. Glenn-Matlock.backstreet merch.com. Go check it out. The book is I Was a Teenage Sex Pistol. That said, let me see. All that. Yeah, what else? I think we have it. Is there anything you want to add, or anybody you want to shout out?
Not really. Just hi guys around the world. I hope you're wearing your masks. I'm not one of these anti-mask type people. So there you go. We don't need to do it because we're inside. But there's more life than this old dog yet. Got a new record coming. If you check on Amazon or where you just mentioned for the book, there's my last couple of albums on there. Born Running and Good to Go. It's got some fantastic players on it and some good songs as well. So check it out. Jackie
keeps asking, when's the follow-up book?
When's the follow-up book? Well, I'm thinking about it. I've got a good title. I Was a Drunken Idiot, and it opened in Harrow Road Police Station on Christmas Eve in the cell. So
there you go.
There you go.
All right. Hey, listen, thanks a lot, Glenn. I really appreciate you coming by the show. I wish you all the best.
Sorry, I missed the last bit.
I wish you all the best.
And to you as well.
Take care.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It was Glenn Matlock. We are the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. That said, Great show. Thank you, man. That was cool. It was great to have him on. Was the first Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member that we have had. Thanks, Al. Definitely one of the best episodes so far. Thank you. Fantastic. Honestly, when people come on the show, we've talked about this. We've talked about this before. I don't want to drag the guy on the show. I know everybody wants to hear about this Sex Pistols shit, but listen, enough already. And this is my fucking show, and I'll do what the fuck I want. And I'm actually tired of hearing the same shit. So there you go. Wanted to talk about some different stuff, and I think that's why people gravitate to the show. So there you go. Upstate Rick, thanks, man. Chris Corkum, how are you, buddy? I hope you're well in Boston. Rat Bones, what's up, Rat Bones?
Oh,
how you doing, bro?
Pretty good.
Yep. What's the word?
Not much. I want to come.
Let me see. What's that shirt? Is that a Vivian Westwood you're wearing? Ah, there you go.
It's Tony T-shirt.
Destroy. I like that. Destroy.
Yo, definitely. I want to come on and say hi to Mike Judge. I don't need to do my segment, but at least get me in there to say what up to him. That's an old friend.
Is Mike Judge is the next? Mike Judge is next up, right?
Yeah. I'll make sure.
Where is that? Let me find that. Let me. Here it is, right here. Next up is Mike Judge, followed by. Mike Judge is this Sunday. A week from today is Nancy Burrill, and then a week from Nancy Burrill is Todd Morse, Toby's brother, The Offspring, H2O, Juliet and the Licks, and then Gary Miskell from the Crumbsuckers. So let's get that popping. There you go. What else? We got a couple minutes here. Anybody got anything to say? Yes, Lori Dawn, Nancy, a girl. I got a girl on the show. Hallelujah. I thought it was
cool that Matt, not that he didn't want to answer questions about the Sex Pistols, but that he didn't want to rest on his laurels with that, and he has other accolades in his life that he did. It's awesome, He didn't even say I did this or I did that. He knew it,
Absolutely. It's like the same shit. Like, let's get Moby on the show and ask him about how he got his ass kicked. We
ask about the controversy, right?
Everybody, thanks, Muggsy. Thanks, Muggsy. I appreciate it. Yeah. And also Adam, I got to thank Adam Sewell, Glenn's manager, who lined this up, who's an old friend of mine. I produced the video for him back in the 90s. He sang for a band called Monster Voodoo Machine. I don't know, maybe some of you Canada people remember, but Adam, who manages Glen now, thank you, brother. You're a good dude. Yay, the girls are organizing. Watch out. That's right. I like girls, man. Sick of you dudes. Shout out to Flan. Oh, is it Sunday? No, it's Wednesday. Is it shout out day? Tony Matura. Great show. Thanks, Drew. Well, thanks for coming by, Tony. Absolutely. There you go. We got a couple minutes, so there you go. What else? What else do I need to mention? Women of the Pit. Happy birthday, Stigma. New York Hardcore Chronicles live comments crew. The merch. Listen, you bums. Buy the merch. There's a link underneath. I'll put the link in the. Here's the link. Here's the Lancelot link in the chat room. Buy a shirt. Don't be shy. Or buy the. You know what? I know Steen. Hold on. I got a good one. Here is Steen. Steen from Denmark. Where is my New York Hardcore Chronicles merch folder? Hold on. Stick with me. Hold on.
I hope to see a mug. Christmas is coming. Don't be a Scrooge.
Don't be.
Yes.
There you go. Here you go. Here's the merch right here. Okay, here you go. Here, today's model is Steen from Heroes to None from Denmark, modeling the New York Hardcore Chronicle, the New York Hardcore logo shower curtain. God, the shower curtain. So there you go. Drew, did you see your merch promo on the pages? I'm not sure what that means. What do you mean the pages? But yeah, there's a merch link underneath. I just posted the merch link again. You know, don't be shy. There you go, Steen. Slim, trim, and good looking. There you go, bro. There you go. Go watch that. Go. There's a
power joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, right. There you go. Where's Steven Messina? I wonder if he got fired today.
No,
you know?
He got busted.
Yeah, he got busted. Like, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just on a show that's going out around the world. Alan says, thanks for making work bearable today, Drew. Cheers, boss. Of course, man. It's what I do. This is like, it's what I do. This is what I do now. I mean, I do other things too, but this is kind of like what I do now. And I'm really fortunate that I have the opportunity to do this. So thanks a lot. You know, you thank you people for enabling me. Jesus, can I get that off? Okay. So thank you for enabling me. If anybody else out there wants to enable me, there's the Patreon page. So don't be shy and let it fly. So that said,
go get that McRib today.
What is this with the Mick? Yo, don't bring that crap up on my show. Who eats that shit, bro? Nobody wants to hear about that shit.
One day the McRib is out. It's not meat, so you can eat it.
What, McRib isn't meat?
I'm playing. I could care less. I don't eat that shit. I'm just go goofing.
Oh, listen, bro. I know you got one on your corner, bro.
I might have to get
don't front.
All day.
Don't front on me and Jim, bro. We know there's a McDonald's right on your corner. I know where you live, bro. You know, you better be eating Span. Oh, here we go. McFlan. Good one. McFlan. Can I get the McFlan, the McRib with flan? Or how about, can I get the McDead cows? How about the McDuty? Can I get the McDuty sandwich? You know, unbelievable. So there you go. What's up with you, Lenny? You know, Lenny, you got to come on the show pretty soon. We got a big announcement to make. Ooh, can't talk about it yet, but big musical New York announcement. What is this? Chris Corkum, our old friend from Boston, says Phil Lewis, ex of Girl of LA Guns solo band, is called Filthy Lucre. What does that mean, Filthy Lucre? Does that mean like filthy rich? Is that what that means? Like filthy rich?
Yeah.
Is that what that means? Like I'm filthy rich? Oh, you know what? Oh, listen, you know what I got to shout out? Oh, man. New York Hardcore Comics opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo the Pro and Lee Fairley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys, statues, magic, the gathering, and all things horror. The store is located at 117 Main Street in Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this pandemic, please contact them by email at newyorkhardcorecomics@gmail.com. Ooh, that would be, if I forgot, that would be the first time I would have forgotten. Nah, you're just filthy. LOL. How would you know, sister?
Don't mess with the girls. They got a whole page they can blow you up on now.
Don't even front. Debo and Lee are fucking aces. Absolutely. You know, there you go. McPatreon. Please join the McPatreon. Dirty money. Is that what it is? Oh, it means dirty money?
Guys up in Dobbs State, man. We got to really do that, Drew. We gotta make that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it wasn't a show, we tape some of it and, you know, make it happen. Do something. I want to trade with those guys.
Hey, bro, did you lose your job?
There he is.
What's up, guys?
Did you get fired?
Yeah, he looks sad.
I had to catch 3 trains in the last 10 minutes, so
they took the MTA card away.
The how's my face look? There we go.
You look good. Hey, Chucky says, Drew, I have to say, while I'm putting dialysis patients on the machine, makes my day much better here watching this show. Hey, listen, if I could bring a little joy to your world as they're in there, you know, doing hooking up people with dialysis, you know, that's what this show's about, man. Little joy for you, a little joy for me. A little joy for everyone. Is Rat Bones decorating the outside of his house for Christmas? Listen, Rat Bones lives in an apartment building like the rest of
an apartment, but look, guys.
Damn. You guys are doing it big over there in the Rat Bones house.
It's family time. Got a kid. You got to have the tree.
Really?
And the tree goes up tonight in Rockefeller Center here in New York. Yeah. Tree. They say, please don't come. You know, COVID.
The tree, yeah, you can watch it on TV. You can watch it on TV, right?
Sure.
I'm coming back to New York on Friday. I'm sort of, you know, I don't want to say I'm dreading it, but.
And when you come back, they still they say 14-day quarantine every time you travel, both sides. You have to kind of do that.
I do that anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
I go there for 14 days. I come here for 14 days. I'm like in perpetual quarantine, bro.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's more like 4 myself.
Yeah, like I'm in perpetual quarantine, you know. I'm not giving a fuck about that. You know, I've traveled through this whole thing. And look, I don't take it lightly, but
very strange time to see people behave so strangely.
Yep. Steven, we want some noise on the show, so I'm muted.
Oh,
what's happening?
There you go. You've got. I bring the noise.
Let me guess. Was that the number 7 train I just saw?
No. This is LIRR. I'm at Woodside.
I like your hat.
Yeah. I think I gave you one of these.
You did. You gave me one. I have it it's deep in the archive.
Yeah, no, it's good. We got these new masks too. Actually, I just heard that they changed the quarantine to 7 days. From 14 to 7, yeah.
First off, like, what the fuck am I doing? It's like it's not like I'm coming home and going out dancing, right?
There's no to give it right. Weird.
You know?
Selective.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's when you're coming back to New York, you're safer. I mean, your dad's in Florida, so that's where you got to be more careful.
Yeah.
New York, you're with the savages, with us.
Listen, it's like nice. It's nice and sunny. It's nice and sunny here, and like I got to go back to New York, and like you know, it's like seriously, it's like an episode of The Walking Dead, you know?
Oh, it definitely is. Here, you'll have less noise now. Getting on a nice warm train.
Why don't you sit down, bro? Why don't you take a seat, bro? You
never. No. I like to let the paying customers sit.
You think right? Thomas Starkey says, I went to grade school PS 229 in Woodside.
Oh, nice.
Hey, I went to PS 158 Manhattan. Rat Bones, what about you?
I went to Lanesville School. I don't know. I went to Bricktown, New Jersey.
And
I went to Hauppauge High School in Long Island.
Hey, listen, Larry Kelly. I know you were here.
High school, I went to Brick Memorial High School, and there was Brick Dragons High School. Bricktown was cut into 2.
What's where you went? Where did you go, Johanna? What are you claiming? What set are you claiming, Johanna?
School of Hard Knocks.
I went to the School of Hard Knocks, yo. You know? Where did you go, Johanna? Yeah. Yeah, Larry Kelly says he was in Larry Kelly was down here last week. He's one of these guys that texts me like, yo, I'm in downtown, you know, dude, you gotta give me a little lead time into something like that, you know? Don't friggin', you know. Yo, I went to the School of Hard Knocks. Oh, Johanna says she went to 229. All right, there you go. All right, we'll cut you some slack, you know. I dropped out. Fuck that. Okay. Well, that's why you're a rocket scientist. That's why. That's why you're a guitar player in a rock band. So there you go. School of Hard Knocks. Enough already. I went to the school on the streets. There you go. So, okay, cool. Well, there you go. There you have it. I think I covered everything. Fun show today with Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Glenn Matlock. Let me see what else. Anybody else? Laugh out loud. I'm old, yo. Okay. Yeah, I went to Rock and Roll High School. Shouting out Warren and all the Pitchfork, shouting out Zum at Fryette, you know, shouting out the guys at, shouting out Vlad at Organic Grill, shouting out Your Core Chris, shouting out Joe Romini at the Texas Silver Rush, shouting out Josh at Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, shouting out our friends in Life of Agony, shouting out our friends in Warzone, formerly of Warzone. Shouting out Sid the Kid.
Hey, Sid.
Shouting out Chucky Brown. All right? There you go. Shouting out the School of Flan. Shouting out legal marijuana. There you go. That said, all right. I'm going to get on with my life. I want you to get on with yours. I will see you. Anybody you want to shout out, Steven?
Hey, did you shout out Warren's new real estate page?
Oh no, I did not yet. I got to get the link and put it up. Yep.
Yeah, that'd be good. He's keeping busy over there, which is good, you know.
Larry Kelly says, "Hey, while we have a minute, what's the chance to get an Eric Bogosian on the show?" I don't know. I got a list of like 40 people that that are lining up for the show. Eric Bogosian's not on it, but I'll put him on the hit. The Flan Rudd's Red. Flan Rudd's Red! There you go. Do you have the 100th show booked yet, Drew? And if so, when are you going to let us know who is on? Ooh, well, I can't let you know yet. Can't let you know.
The rumor is we got Joe Biden on.
Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this though. I was talking to Doyle from Wolfgang von Frankenstein. So Doyle doesn't even own a computer. So it's gonna be tough to get Doyle on the show. So I can almost say with certainty, Doyle, Wolfgang von Frankenstein, is not coming on for the 100th show.
Well, what if you just have him come to your apartment and sit next to you on the thing there?
Dweezil Zappa, that's a good one. Oh, that reminds me. 2 documentaries that I just saw. Hold on, let me get the logo on there. 2 documentaries I just saw. I saw the John Belushi documentary, which was okay. It was cool. You know, if you remember John Belushi and you know, that kind of thing. The John Belushi documentary was cool. It's not going to change the world. And also, me and my dad just watched the Frank Zappa documentary. And you know what? It was okay. It's not going to change the world or anything, but it was all right. I'm a big Zappa, fanatic. I mean, I love Frank Zappa and I know a lot about his music. And, Frank Zappa really, I know a lot about Frank Zappa. So the documentary was cool. It had some stuff in it I've never seen. If there's any big Zappa people out there, it's worth seeing. There's footage that I've never seen before. So, but it had some the documentary didn't show him playing guitar. They didn't even address his guitar playing, which I'm a big fan of his guitar playing. So anyway, on the Drew Stone scale of sucked, fair, good, very good, and excellent, I'd say the Zappa film was good. And I'd say the Belushi film was good. So not to be confused with very good or excellent. But, they were okay. The mothers, love Zappa, watch the film then.
Brian Whitmore's back?
Yeah, Brian, your boy's back. Brian Whitmore's back. Yep. There you go. The Zappa film's okay. But that said, yeah, I wanted to, I heard good things about the Ron Wood documentary. As a matter of fact, we've been looking at the poster for that as sort of a template for the poster for the new film that I'm doing. So yeah, I hear the Ron Wood film is good. That said, Chris Corkum says, Belushi, I gave that SSD control flyer for that third Gallery East show while he smoked pot. Okay. Yes, 200 motels, Lenny. Yep. The Hall of Flan. Adrian Ballou. Listen, I saw Adrian Ballou once and I said to him, I just said, man, I saw that, some of those Frank Zappa shows at the Palladium that you played with them. And he was like, yeah, those were great, That said, okay. Arnie is the voice of sanity in this crazy world. You have no idea. Drew, have you seen what was that? Joe, I know they're doing a documentary. No, they're doing a friend that did the DC hardcore film Salad Days is doing a documentary about Joey Shithead right now. So I don't think I'm going to get Joey on the show as they're getting this around. How long did Drew follow the Deadheads around? Let's not talk about that right now. We are waiting for the Drew Hatuna biography. I'll drop knowledge, I'll drop knowledge, Joe. Don't mess with me. Shouting out Arnie. Big Arnie shout out. Baby snakes. Late at night is when they come out. So there you go. Steven.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Noisy Guy, you want to shout anybody out on the way out?
Yeah, you know who I want to shout out? We're talking about all these classics. I want to shout out Tom Waits.
All right.
And that's someone I'd like to see a documentary about because he is my absolute ultimate artist and inspiration.
Okay.
That's that.
All right. Well, thanks, man. Get home safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
Rat Bones, how about you? Who you trying to shout out?
Yo, I want to shout out my boy Doug Dillon from California. He's like, good friend of mine. I hope he's doing well over the holidays. That's a real shout out. And you know what? I want to shout out Jay from Roxoff. I just got a postcard from him. He's out in the middle of nowhere, Idaho or Boise, Idaho, somewhere crazy. So I just got a random postcard from him. I thought that was cool. So shout out to Jay from Roxoff. And really, that's it, man. I want to see Mike Judge. Come bring all the apples back from Mike Judge.
Yeah, you'll come say hi to Mike.
That's going to be epic, And today was, great. What it really brings you back to when, punk rock was only a pair of jeans, some black shoes, and like a button on your jacket, and like other kids might have messed with you because it was just an attitude. It was a good walk down memory lane with him, to like remember when there was only The Who, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and then like the Sex Pistols or the Plasmatics or the Ramones. The lines were so wider back then. Everything's kind of blurred together as time's gone on. But yeah, it was cool.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon and stay out of that McDonald's on the corner.
Yeah, boy, going to get my McRib right now, bro. What up?
Yo, remember when they used, do they still make, what was that thing, that green shake?
The Shamrock Shake, kid. The Shamrock Shake.
What flavor was that? What flavor was the Shamrock Shake?
Green number 222.
Anybody out there know what flavor was the Shamrock Shake? Was it lime? What could it be? Lime or
and chip
mint?
chocolate mint.
Mint?
Chocolate chip mint. I'm going.
Oh, okay.
I mean, put it out there. Let's see,
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Later, guys.
See you back in New York in a couple days.
You know it. Hit me up.
Well, there you go. Oh, it was mint. Yeah, okay. That shit was nasty, yo. Soylent Green. Good one, James. Soylent Green is made. It's a Soylent special limited edition Soylent Green shake. Whiskey. Yeah. Chocolate mint. Okay. Pistachio? No, I think it was mint. It was mint. You know, it was mint. Answering your question about the Zappa documentary, yes, the Zappa documentary was directed by Alex Winter of Bill and Ted's Adventure. Wasn't Keanu Reeves, the other dude, Alex Winter, directed. Big Zappa fan. He directed it. So there you go. Joe James just showed up. Is that right? Joe James, you missed the show, bro. Joe James, you know, Glenn wasn't on that long. You kind of missed the show, but you can watch it in rerun. As a matter of fact, anybody that's watching me babble on for the past 15 minutes, there is a subscribe button right about there. Please subscribe to the show. So that said, yes, they interviewed Steve Vai. Steve Vai was in the doc. A couple people in there. It was good. Not to be confused with very good or excellent. It didn't suck. I will say that. That said, I want to thank everybody for the support. Thank you for tuning in around the world. This has been the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We will see you on Sunday. For Mike Judge, until then, do good things and good things will come to you.